Hi, I'm Scott Johnson, Sodus Town Supervisor, and I want to remind everyone that it is very important to complete the 2020 census as soon as possible. I've asked Mayors McDowell and Englert to join me to get this message out and to debunk some of the myths we hear surrounding the census.
The census is used to determine how much representation New York State receives in Washington. We know New York is losing population, so it's even more important that everyone still here is counted, or we'll lose more representation than we should.
Population numbers from the census are also used to determine how much representation Wayne County receives in Albany. We know that we are losing population upstate, so it's more important than ever that everyone here gets counted, or we'll lose more influence to the cities and population centers.
And population numbers from the census are used to determine which important infrastructure projects get funded. When money is tight, it goes to where it can benefit the most people, or where it can please the greatest number of voters.
Please fill out your census to ensure that our schools, our first responders, and our bridges, roads, and other important infrastructure get every dollar they deserve.
Here are some myths we have heard from people as reasons for not completing the census.
Not true. The census is simply the U.S. government taking a snapshot of who lives where every 10 years. All personal identifiers remain confidential for 70 years. The only information that will be used while you're still alive is the population count for your address, and for demographic purposes, your ages and ethnicities.
Not true. The census does not ask for citizenship or employment status information. If a person lives here for more than 180 days per year, they count. After all, they are using our schools and roads. We need them to count.
There is no long-form census this year. This is the first time that it has been possible for residents to respond online, so the Census Bureau has kept it simple. There is only a short form with a few questions. It's super easy and takes less than 5 minutes to complete. If you've received a more detailed questionnaire from the Census Bureau, that is the American Community Survey and not the census. It is also vitally important to respond to the ACS, but doing so doesn't meet your obligation to complete the 2020 census. Even if you have recently completed a longer survey for the Census Bureau, please go online and respond to the 2020 census.
Not true. April 1st was designated National Census Day simply to raise awareness that the census was available. Your primary residence is where you spend more than half the year. That is the address that your responses are based on. If you live in Sodus, but happen to be in Florida on April 1st, respond to your Sodus address.
This is true. Your primary residence is where you spend more than half the year. If that is in Sodus, answer your census for your Sodus home. If you live at your vacation property less than half the year, you will need to respond for that address. Simply answer 0 when asked how many people live there.
Not true. A child born today will be in the 5th grade by the time the next census comes around. Their community and schools will miss out on all the state and federal funding that child deserves for the next 10 years. Everyone counts, especially the very young.
Not true. The American Community Survey does ask questions about income, distance commuted, and an array of other questions in detail. But the 2020 census only asks how many, how old, and what ethnicity. Names won't even be available for 70 years.
Not true. A family of 4 can complete the entire census in under 5 minutes.
Not true. The 2020 census asks 9 simple questions for the person completing the questionnaire and 3 questions for each additional person at your address. For a family of 4, that's 18 simple questions.
Not true. Go to My Census census.gov and click the Respond button. Or if you would prefer to complete the census by telephone, call the number listed at the end of this video to respond in the language of your choice.
Not true. Time is running out. The 2020 census closes at the end of September. That's your last chance to count for 10 years. There is no reason not to complete your 2020 census.
It's easy, it's the law, and it only benefits your community.
Complete your 2020 census today and help shape the future for Sodus and Wayne County for the next 10 years.